Hi, I'm Peter McCracken from ShipIndex.org, and I try to answer some questions that folks have about maritime history and about ships whenever I can. If you've got a question, please send it to me at comments@shipindex.org, and we'll see what we can do. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. Instead of taking a question that someone has, I'm going to show you a little thing that I did from a post that I saw on Facebook. A relative of mine, who I only know on Facebook, I know that they're related to me, but I don't know them in person, posted a picture from a visit to Maysville, Kentucky, which is where this relative's family is from. And they included this picture of a Kentucky Historical Society sign from 22 about the full rig ship Maysville, which was launched in 1803. And since this relative doesn't really know what sort of stuff I do, I thought, hey, this would be a great opportunity to see what I could find about looking for this particular ship. So I went into shipindex.org and I searched for the Maysville. And here's what I found. I found six citations in four different resources. One is the Maysville mentioned in the Log of Mystic Seaport. One is the book America and the Sea, A Maritime History by Ben Laborie, which is also from Mystic Seaport, and then a couple of others. And some that I thought were particularly interesting were these mentions of entries in the Lloyd's list of 1812. Now, a couple of things to note here. First, Lloyd's. We often hear about Lloyd's. There are a whole bunch of different parts of Lloyd's. There's Lloyd's List, which is one of the earliest newspapers ever published. It's still being published today, though today, because we are in the 21st century, it's only digital. But it was published twice a week, and it would record information about the arrival and departure of various vessels. It's separate from Lloyd's Register, which is still an annual guide to particular vessels. It describes when the vessel was built, the information about it. And then there's also the Lloyd's Insurance Company. And they all came from the original sources, but they've basically gone off in different directions over the last 400 years. So Lloyd's List is an incredible newspaper of information about the arrival and departures of vessels, but it's basically not indexed anywhere. It's available online, but few people have ever tried to index it. One was this guy, Michael Dunn, who was working on a big project around the War of 1812, and he went through 2 years worth of index of Lloyd's lists and indexed the whole thing. He made lists of all of them. He shared that information with me to put into the database here. So there may be lots more mentions of Maysville arriving through Lloyd's list, but these are the ones we know of because of the work that Michael Dunn did to create an actual index to it. I did a quick search online to find where I could find records of Lloyd's list, and I did find this nice listing of them. We're looking for 1812, so I'll find 1812 here. And these are kept in, I believe, in HathiTrust, which has got all these digitized copies of resources that are out of copyright. So this is Lloyd's list of 1811 and 1812. So if we start by looking for, say, February 28th, 1812 issue, we're looking for page 2, column 2. And there's no great way of doing this without just sort of scrolling in and seeing where it takes us. So there's August 1811. Jump down a little bit more and see where we are here. August of 1811. So we've got a little bit, maybe that's closer to February of 1812. Great. February 4th of 1812. Marine list has got various information, and then there's just details about vessels arriving and departing from various locations. So we are looking for February 28th, page 2, column 2. So let's scroll down a little bit more, wait for it to load. And here's February 25th. So the next one's going to be February 28th and page 2. And then we're going to go column 2. Okay, here we are, February 28th, 1812. I've got some information from the Marine list. Now I'm going to zoom in to these to get a whole lot closer, and we're going to see what we can find. We're looking at column 2 of page 2. That's what we were looking for. And here it is, Maysville Bush. Maysville arrived from Philadelphia in Vigo, Spain. And then if we go on to March 31st, we'll find they arrived in Porto, Portugal. And then on October 20th, we'll see if we can find October 20th real quickly. So as you can see, there was a lot of information that was published and it's published pretty regularly, and it was pretty useful information. October 20th, to go check my citation again, page 2, column 1. Here's page 1. Here's page 2. Gonna jump in a little bit closer again. Page 2, column 1. And if I look through here, I find Maysville, arrived from the Mediterranean, Falmouth. So we saw in the original one arrived from Philadelphia. So that was pretty neat. And then this one, they sailed to sailed to Spain, then Portugal, then up to Falmouth, England, coming from the Med. And so all of that is pretty cool. But we're jumping back and we're thinking, wait a minute, is this really the ship that was launched here? Well, these ships were built 1,000 miles from the ocean. They sailed down the Ohio, down the Mississippi to New Orleans, and then they sailed up to Philadelphia, and then started working from there. So this is an image from the other citation that we found. Jumping back here for a moment, we saw that mention of America and the sea and maritime history. So I tracked that down and I found that here. And the image is not great, but we do have an image of this specific ship. And we learned that departing from Le Havre, France, the Philadelphia ship Maysville gives little indication that she was built and launched 1,000 miles from the sea. The settlement spread into the Ohio River Valley in the 1790s. Kentucky admitted to statehood in 1792, and Ohio, which became a state in 1803, developed agricultural economies far removed from their markets on the Atlantic coast. Anyway, they were building tall ships there, full rigged ships. And so it was neat to discover this. We know that this is the specific Maysville that we had been looking at before. And so that was a neat way to discover something just from a little something I found on a Facebook post by a relative. Hope you enjoyed that. If you've got some ideas of things you'd like me to investigate, please let me know through comments at ShipIndex.org.